visualization is the ability to take data, which could be in a lot of different forms. It could be columns of numbers, or it could be lots of information in text format, and to make it into something humans can understand. Very often that can be a graph or a chart. It could be creating a calculation that produces a single number at the end. But in a visualization process, the important thing is that you're taking that information and making it pop to people, making it communicate to people. So that's the most important thing. The first and most basic tool that's used for data visualization is Microsoft Excel. It's very commonly used across lots of organizations and very well used, and it has a lot of strengths. Like other spreadsheet software, it's very good for processing data. It's got lots of calculation capability, and it's got lots of inbuilt graphing capability, which gives you a lot of capability for visualizing information. It does, however, have its limits. A spreadsheet particularly is going to be hitting its limits when you're dealing with really large data sets, perhaps with data that's not numbers. If it's very, very wordy or if it's very visual, a spreadsheet isn't going to help you there. So sometimes you have to move into other tools to process data. So you might want to use maybe a dashboard tool like Tableau or Power BI, where the data is held in the back end of the software and not really shown to users, and all the visuals come to the fore. Perhaps you want to use a software language, of which the most commons maybe R, where it's a very good analytical language, really good for processing data and making it visual and making dashboards that way. So there's lots of different ways people can become good at data visualization using all the different tools that are available to us in this day and age. So data visualization is something that anybody with data is going to value. So if you're an organisation and you have information about what your customers are like, what days they tend to visit your shop, perhaps you've got information about sick days that your employees are taking. There's all sorts of things that are collected all the time by organisations, and that they're very difficult to draw any conclusions from or any story from or any meaning from without somebody with that skill set to come along and say, I have processed this data, I can show you what it looks like, and I can help you to make a decision as to how to support your employees that are in long-term sick pay, or how to identify people who are maybe struggling to come back to work effectively, because I can run my data. I can take my data skills and I can make them work for you. I can make them tell a story, and I can connect you to what you need to know. And that is a very powerful way of connecting with people and to help convincing them of your point of view or of a story that you've identified in their data. So data visualization is very much a data analysis role. It's a space where somebody who has great analytics potential, somebody who really understands numbers and a little bit of IT understanding, whether that's spreadsheet tools or whether it's dashboards or whether they've got more advanced computational knowledge. And they're the people that have the skills to look at the data set and understand what's actually there in the data. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do. You need to be able to look at the data and not take your own narrative in to the data, but understand what the data is telling you. And then you need to create a visual that helps people who don't have that skill of processing and understanding it, to see the story that's in the data, so that the data speaks for itself almost and communicates to people with a range of backgrounds and understandings of the underlying context, and lets them partake and understand what the data is telling them. So essentially what you're doing is you're democratizing data. You're taking the information and the story and all the knowledge that's contained in this data set, and you're giving it out to people who don't need to have your skills in Microsoft Excel or your skills in Python in order to understand what the story is. With any skill that you're trying to develop, you have to start where you are. So what your route would be might depend on where you are in your journey just now. If you have some knowledge of some of the tools that I've mentioned, Microsoft Excel or Power BI, if you're very numerate, perhaps you've got a numerate degree, you might find that it's enough just to learn the tools. And you can do that from online courses, or you can do that from great online resources like Codecademy is a great one if you want to learn coding. So there are lots of resources out there that you can do to self-learn some of the concepts that are in there. Data visualization itself is a relatively small part of the broader data skill set, but it's a very important part of it, and it's likely to be covered by undergraduate degrees, postgraduate degrees, college and school level work will have some aspects of data visualization in there, but they will also have other concepts in there that can be crucial to building that correct story. Another great way with data visualization is just to be aware of examples of what's been done with data visualization in the past, and you can use some books and journalistic spaces. So a lot of the newspapers and online journalism spaces have got some fantastic data visualization going on. And if you start paying attention to that, you can really learn a lot from those examples and how those people have approached the problem of telling the story with that data.